Leon come from the ghetto. Leon was the oldest of 15 kids. Leon had an alcoholic mother, a street woman. I went to reform school when I was 10. I've been in the streets. I used to stick up. I used to rob. I used to burglarize. I got stabbed twice. I shot dope for over 30 years. I went to prison 5 times. I'm 45 years old. My name is Leon Dredd. I was that African-American male that wasn't a role model. See, I was a vicious animal. You would not have wanted to run into me when I was an addict. Because if I'd have seen you in the store with your mother's money, a $20 bill, I might have grabbed you around your neck and I would have grabbed you around your neck and took it. Ain't no might to it. I would have took it, just like that. I was our community's worst nightmare at one time.
Tonight on WTTW Journal, Christmas with Father Brennan.
Here's what bothers me. There's so much that can be done on a permanent basis, but you just don't have the money. When I meet God after I die, I have a few questions for him. I think there's a couple of things that he may have figured out wrong. Here I am, I know how to do all this stuff, and I can't do it. I can't do more.
Although he has not done all he would like to, few people would say Father Raymond Brennan has failed. He's changed hundreds of lives, and all for the better. As he walks with his children down the road leading out of the orphanage towards the new day, many of them are too young to realize that the real gift they get from Father Brennan, the one they'll carry with them the rest of their lives, comes not just on Christmas, but every day of the year.
Here he is, Len Aronson.
Father Brennan was an amazing man. He was born in Chicago, and his mother told him that she knew he might end up in the Orient because he was the only one of her 12 children who liked rice. When he died after 40 years in Southeast Asia, and it was a couple years ago, he was feeding rice to more than 400 people a day. He had created he had created an orphanage and then schools for the deaf, the blind, and the disabled, and had made a positive difference in thousands of lives. We often wonder, when we make television, if anything we do ever makes any positive difference in anybody's life. It's hard to know, but perhaps the next best thing, and it's one of the great gifts our profession gives us, is the chance to meet those exceptional people who do. In my life, producing television was a great fit. Where else could somebody with such a short attention span make such a decent living? It gave me the chance to be a social creature, to serve on different teams with good creative people, to actually get paid for having adventure and fun, and to have the sense of being a part of the positive side of human evolution. And it also gave me the chance to work alone, to screen and write and organize and edit and make sense of what it was that I had experienced, and eventually to make something of it that could be shared with others. I always thought I had the best job in television, making documentaries, for that let me stay with an issue long enough to turn subjects into friends and assignments into life experience. I started my career as a print reporter. I remember Chicago's American political editor, Norton Kay, telling me one day back in 1968, as we headed out to the Democratic National Convention, that our mission was to attend the event and discover the true inwardness of it. In college, I once had the chance to sit in a small room with Robert Frost and remember his saying that poetry was just the knack of saying common things in uncommon ways. That's what Norton did that day, and I never forgot it. We don't always recognize it, but we are part of a wonderful calling. A calling that nurtures curiosity and enthusiasm for learning, that demands that we use our eyes and our ears and our minds and our feelings every day of our life. I remember once telling an historian, a friend of mine, that journalists and historians had one thing in common. We both got to meet fascinating human beings. The only difference was he had to wait until they were dead. I'll tell you just two short anecdotes. I left Channel 11 in 2004 with a commission to produce 2 documentaries about the Oriental Institute. It was a wonderful assignment because when people asked me what I didn't just have to mumble and say, well, I used to make television programs. I was able to say, I'm exploring the origins of human civilization. One of the most uplifting things that those documentaries taught me was how much we had in common with the earliest scribes in ancient Mesopotamia, who recorded their observations of the sky on clay tablets in cuneiform. Their work helped midwife the birth of astronomy and agronomy and geometry and a host of other empirical sciences that changed our view of the world. We're using a different technology now, but they before us and we now are really all members of the same team. A team that's struggling to be objective and unbiased and accurate and meticulous in trying to observe and preserve what's useful and true. It is, in fact, the team that makes civilization. And I think we all should be very proud to be a part of it. My last thought is about a simple man-on-the-street interview I did once with a woman. On the cusp of the new millennium, we produced a documentary on regionalism, which we called Crossroads. A good title because Chicago has always been a crossroads, especially with its diversity in human relations. I set up a camera outside the traffic court and asked people coming out what they thought was the most pressing issue for our region. One woman stopped, listened, thought a minute, and said, well, I don't know a lot about issues and all that stuff, but I do know one thing for sure. We're all in this mess together. Robert Frost might have called that poetry. All I can say is, didn't we have a great time being in this mess together and capturing all that poetry? I think of you often, and I thank you for all that you have given me, and that includes this wonderful award.